everybody, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all doing well. So today's video is going to be another one of what I eat in a day whilst breastfeeding, because as you may or may not know, I have a nearly 4-month-old baby, which is bittersweet to say because she's growing up so fast. But the meals I'm going to be creating in this video are going to be healthy meals that are going to help with milk production. So if you need some inspiration on just healthy meals in general, do keep watching, because I always find myself in a rut where I just make the same meals all the time. So I hope you guys get some inspiration from this video. This video is in partnership with iHerb, and if you don't know what iHerb is, they're basically an online retail website that sell food, supplements, even beauty items, home items at a very cheap price. You can find absolutely everything on there, and they cater to a lot of dietary needs. So if you're somebody that is vegan, if you're gluten-free, if you're dairy-free, if you're nut-free, if you are somebody that just wants to eat organic, that is your one-stop shop to basically get all of these stuff at a very cheap price. I was surprised. I know I keep saying it's very cheap, but it is. The website is really easy to use. Like for me, when I ordered the stuff, I went into grocery, that's all I wanted, and I just typed in what I needed, and so many options came up, so many different varieties, so much stuff that's available on that website is not available in the UK. And the fact that they do ship to the UK is a bonus. I should mention they ship to 150 countries worldwide, and I'm in the UK and they shipped here, and it didn't take decades to come. Honestly, I thought it was going to take at least 1 to 2 weeks or 2 weeks plus to arrive to me, because every time I've ordered anything from the US, it's taken 2 weeks plus to come, and the fact that it came 2 days later shocked me. So that just shows me that they do take customer service and their shipping very seriously. So there's a lot of different shipping methods you can use. You can use UPS, you can use DHL, you can even use your local post. I use DHL, which came to me within 2 days. I'm also going to leave some links down below, and I'm pretty sure that the links have extra discount codes within it. So if you use my links, you can get a bit of money off as well. So make sure you check the description box for that, and enjoy. For breakfast, I start off with a bowl of hearty, warming cinnamon porridge, and to make this, I use this Bob's Red Mill extra thick organic rolled oats. This is from iHerb, and I use 2 cups of that. And then I take a teaspoon of this Simply Organic Cinnamon. I like to use a lot of cinnamon powder in my porridge. If you like to use less, add less. I give it a quick stir, and then I add in my whole milk. I use 2 cups. And once that's added in, I give it one final stir, and then on the hob it goes to cook away for 5 minutes. I prefer to cook my oats on the hob because I feel like it just tastes better rather than put in the microwave. I don't know if that's in my head. But next I'm going to chop my desired fruit of choice, which happened to be strawberries and grapes on this particular day because that's all I had in the fridge. And then I'm going to go ahead and get my honey. I'm using this wholesome organic honey, which is also from iHerb. I'm going to be using that very generously because I have a massive sweet tooth. So once I've added in my honey, I'm going to give it a quick stir, and porridge is done. I feel like porridge is so underrated. It's such a nice breakfast to have on a cold winter's morning, just to warm yourself up, wake yourself up a bit. And I actually read somewhere that oats is actually considered a superfood when it comes to helping with the production of milk. So all the breastfeeding mamas out there, get you some porridge every single morning. Now moving on to toppings, I'm going to use my fruits. So that is my strawberries and grapes, and then I'm going to add some of this Bob's Red Mill whole chia seeds. Just going to sprinkle some of that on top. And last but not least, I'm going to use this Let's Do Organics unsweetened toasted coconut flakes, which are both from iHerb. This is delicious. Those coconut flakes, best I've ever tasted. Now that my breakfast is looking aesthetically pleasing, I'm going to go ahead and devour it. And that is breakfast done. So straight after breakfast, I like to take my bottle and fill it up with cold water. I like to finish around 4 to 5 of these a day, which is around 2.5 liters. It is extremely important to stay hydrated when breastfeeding. And on iHerb, I found these new chapter perfect postnatal multivitamins, which are organic vegetable capsules that help in production of milk. It's important to take some sort of supplement when you are breastfeeding, so I take this once a day, preferably after breakfast, just so that I don't forget. But you can take these on an empty stomach, which is fabulous. So after I take that, I go off and get on with some work, some cleaning, and I come back a few hours later and it's time for my mandatory hot cup of tea. It has to be done on a winter's day. So I found these choice organic masala chai on iHerb, and it is basically exactly what I usually make, just made easier. So it's jam-packed with spice, so it's got ginger, cinnamon, black peppercorn, everything is in that little tea bag. And I also found this Quest cookies and cream protein bar. I wanted something that's tasty but it isn't packed full of sugar, and as you can see it's got pieces of cookies and cream, which was actually really delicious. I was actually surprised, and the tea was amazing. Mom life. I had to go pick up Liana because she was crying and there was nobody in the house to look after her, so we had to just chill and eat our snacks together. Look at how cute she is. Oh my goodness me, she just steals my heart. Lunch is a simple leek and potato soup with a side of garlic bread. It is the easiest soup you can ever make, and you need 2 small onions, 3 garlic cloves, 4 potatoes, and of course your leeks. And last but not least, I'm using this Mr. Dash salt-free lemon pepper seasoning, which is from iHerb. I just begin with chopping my onions, get the skin off, and then I'm going to be using a handheld blender just to make my life easy. You can obviously chop it yourself if you like. I just like to chuck everything in here, including the garlic cloves. Give that a quick blitz, and then I take a little bit of oil, let that heat up, and add my chopped onions. You don't want to make this into a paste, you want them to be very fine. I'll leave the onions to sweat, and in the meantime I'm going to be peeling my potatoes. Once I've finished peeling all the potatoes, I take 3 to the side. I'm going to be chopping those up roughly, so it doesn't matter what size it is because they're going to be blended anyway. But I do take 1 to the side and chop it up in tiny bite-sized pieces. And that's the potato that I'm going to be using to just add it in the end, just for some texture, so that's not going to be blended. And I just separate the two. Moving on, I've washed my leeks. You want to make sure you wash your leeks very thoroughly because they can be quite sandy. So once the onions have sweated and they have become brown in color, add your leeks. Just give that a quick mix. Add your potatoes. And then I go ahead and add the lemon pepper seasoning that I got from iHerb. I use a teaspoon of that, a teaspoon of salt, and half a teaspoon of cumin powder. And once they're all in there, I just give it a quick mix and I pop the lid on. About 20 minutes later, I pop the lid off and just give it a quick stir. And at this point, I like to add boiling kettle water. So you want to add quite a lot of water because this is a soup. You don't want it to be too thick. So I pop the lid back on and that's it. The potatoes are cooked, the leeks are cooked, and I just use a handheld blender once again to blitz that smooth. I forgot to add as well that I used 2 lemons. I squeezed 2 lemons into this soup, and as you saw, I used the remaining potatoes, the small pieces, to just let that cook in there so that there's some nice potato bits in there. And just like that, the simple leek and potato soup is done. You guys have to try this recipe. It is so easy but yet so delicious. I feel like soup is just one of those meals that is made for winter. For my last meal of the day, I made chipotle salmon, mashed potatoes and veg. This was so simple to make. I just took a big piece of salmon, cut it up in 4 pieces, and then I took this Mrs. Dash Southwest Chipotle seasoning, which I got from iHerb, and I dusted a generous amount onto the salmon. And then I used the zest and the juice of a whole lemon. I drizzled some olive oil onto the salmon as well as on the oven dish, just so that it doesn't stick. I massaged all of that spice into the salmon, the front and the back, just to ensure that it's well seasoned. I placed it on the oven dish, and last but not least, I used that last lemon, you can see right at the back. I cut it up in small pieces just to pop on top of the salmon before it goes in the oven. That ensures that not only does it look good, but also the juices from the lemon just ooze into the salmon and make it very lemony and zesty. So that goes straight into the oven for about 20 minutes and we forget about that. And moving on to the next step, which is the mashed potatoes. I just chop potatoes, just leave that to boil, and we're going to move right on to making the veg. Now for the veg, I have 2 onions which I've just chopped and I'm browning it right now. And once that's done, I move on to my next hard veg. So I have peas, sweet corn, green beans and carrots. So what I do is I always cook the hard veg first. So that is onions, carrots, stuff that takes long to cook. Generally, you don't want to dash all of them together, because what will happen is that it will all just get mushy and it will overcook. So once the carrots are done, I add the rest of the veg, pop the lid on. Once it's all cooked, I add my seasoning. The only seasoning that I use on the veg is just a tiny bit of salt, some of this Mrs. Dash lemon and pepper seasoning, which is from iHerb, and finally a tiny splash of soy sauce. Just pop the lid on and forget about it. Now moving on to the mashed potatoes, I just use salt, pepper, a dollop of butter, and last but not least, I'm using this Primal Kitchen Chipotle Lime Mayo. Now let me tell you guys something, I usually use just plain old mayonnaise and that does the job, does wonders, but when I switched to this mayonnaise, wow, you can taste each and every single flavor. Lime, the avocado oil, it's just amazing. And the chili, you can taste the chili too. So that's it, that's my dinner. Very simple but yet very filling. This is my last meal of the day, everyone. I've just tasted it. It tastes incredible, especially the mashed potatoes. Like I said, usually I use like the normal mayonnaise, but that mayonnaise, you can honestly taste it in this. It tastes incredible. I just wanted to say thank you so much for watching this Why in a Day, and thank you so much to iHerb for sponsoring this video. And make sure you check out the links that I'll put down below. They'll have discount codes within them, so if you want to shop from iHerb, make sure you use those links if you want a bit of money off. And thank you for watching this video. I'll catch you in my next one.